Hello everyone and welcome to the Melia Movement Podcast. This is a podcast that brings reality, it brings real stories and it brings real people into the limelight of you watching this. I want to spread awareness that us normal people do go on these journeys and come out the other end succeeding in life. Every single guest that I have on this show has been through something in life and now is doing absolutely truly incredible things. I want to share their journey and exactly how they get there. Big love, and as always, Melia fucking movement, baby.
Melia movement, baby.
Ash, thanks for coming down, brother.
No, thanks for inviting me, boss.
It's been a while. When was the last time we checked in? Probably
College.
Fucking hell, years ago.
Or when I bumped into you in the barbers.
That'd be it.
Yeah,
Charlie's.
yeah.
Shout out Charlie's. Interesting. I was shocked to see where you're at in life now, success-wise, I won't lie. Good mates at college, always sort of just probably were the riffraff of the class.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just excited to get you on now. I know there's going to be very relatable to some people because of the journey that you've been on, sort of what you've struggled with growing up. And a lot of people that would struggle with that would be outcasted as they'll never be successful. And now you've got the biggest meat company in the UK, is it?
I wouldn't go that far.
Well,
striving to be that.
So yeah, I really want to duck into sort of you. I always ask my guest, who is Little Ash, and why are you the big Ash that's having such an impact on the world today?
Yeah, no, I mean, Little Ash, I don't know. I always loved, when I was at school, I always loved to laugh, you know. Always used to be like the joker of the class, always used to mess around, and I still do now, to some extent. But I've always struggled massively with dyslexia, hugely. And the problem is that I had is I never wanted to seek help because I was, consider myself one of the lads at school. To have help at school was a bit, I didn't like the thought of it. I didn't want to have that person, like a teaching assistant, sitting next to me. So rather than me fuck around, I just used to... Well, rather than me ask for help, I just used to fuck around, kind of thing, which didn't do me any favours. So when I was at school, I never really got myself in trouble. I always had a bit of the gift of the gab to kind of talk myself out of trouble. I spent a lot of time if anyone who went to St Andrews listens to this podcast, I spent a lot of time in the isolation unit, which is not the most amazing thing. It was like you sit at a desk and you've got two planks of wood either side of you and you kind of just stare at the wall. I spent a lot of time in there.
So would you say it's a behavioural thing? Would you say you was crying out for help, which is why you used to misbehave, or would you say it's because you sort of just didn't enjoy school at all?
No, I love school. School was fucking ace. Like, I used to buzz to get up to go to school. It was just, I think the fact was, I was scared to ask for help. So rather than kind of rather than try and fail, because I struggled with reading and writing, it was kind of like I'd go the opposite way and just, have a laugh, mess around, not really pay attention, get thrown out and then go sit in the isolation unit for 2 weeks. What was the struggle of asking to help? Was it the ego? You didn't want the lads to know? I think it was a pride thing, yeah. You don't never want to be laughed at and you never want to fail. So I figured the easiest way was just to kind of mess around and I'd do anything to avoid it. Like when the teacher used to say, they used to pick someone and say, stand up in class to read out loud. That was like my worst fear. So I used to think, fuck it, before that comes along, I'll just sit at the back, piss around, and then wait for the teacher to say, like, get out. And I'll be like, sweet, I've achieved what I needed to do.
I can relate that so much. Then you don't have to face that fear.
Well, that's it, yeah. And then, but I think I was quite misunderstood at school because I don't think teachers saw what you were trying to, like, kids aren't stupid. And I don't think teachers saw what you were trying to achieve. Like, they didn't see you were trying to get yourself thrown out or think, why is he doing what he's doing? They just think, he's being disruptive. He's not paying any attention to what I'm saying. He's not listening to me, so he's hindering other people's learning. I know it's quite selfish of me, really, but...
That's what happens when you're a kid, though. You don't really know your actions until, like, you sort of sitting here now, you can look back on it. Did you talk to family about it? Because obviously I can imagine your family were getting called into school to...
Yeah, so I had a good upbringing. My parents had semi-good jobs. And I think my dad was like, he worked he ran a global bank. My mum was a bank manager.
Unreal.
My brother was an accountant, and then there was kind of me, just plateauing, just I don't know, a bit of a life lover.
Did you feel the pressure on yourself then?
I don't think when you're young you feel the pressure, because I don't think you just kind of live day to day. You know, I was more caring about what football fixture the school had next, or who I was playing at the weekend, rather than
academic stuff.
Yeah. But then I got to a stage where, like, the head of year of my school, I mean, me and him never saw eye to eye, and I don't know. I'd love to meet him now just to sit down with him, because I'm sure he is a nice guy. But he'd say to me, "Oh, I've sent a letter home to your mum." So I'd race home I'd finish school, race home, and then there'd be a letter in the post, and the school always made I don't know, I saw it as a mistake. They'd like have one of them machines that would stamp St Andrews High School for Boys on the front. So I'd get home, open it up, read the letter, think, stuff that, screw it up and throw it in the bin.
Yeah.
And I did that for months, like months and months and months. So I'd go home and the first thing I'd do is I'd check the post, and like if there was a letter from the school, I'd have a read, and then or try and read it and then screw it up and throw it in the bin.
So did your parents have no idea?
I think my mum did, because like everyone says to you, like, I don't know, try harder, or they'd send home your school reports. You'd go to, like, I don't know, what's it called? Parents' evening, that's it. You'd go there and they'd kind of talk about your struggles and what you're doing and why you're not doing it. And then I was on a report card, and I had to carry this card around me everywhere and get it filled in. And it always said, like, I don't know, whatever I'd done, which was never particularly bad. It was just kind of having a laugh and whatever. But I remember there was a time that I used to have these things, and it used to say, it was funny enough actually, this is really weird. So my dad cleared out his house recently because they're looking to move, so he's clearing out his loft. Gave me all my old school reports, and it said English, it was like 1 to 3, and it was like effort 1, 1, and then it says Ashley needs to make more effort in reading and writing, all this stuff. But if you can't read and you can't write, then you can make as much effort as you want, but it don't make any difference. And then I think the school kind of cottoned onto it and offered me help, because my mum was kind of fighting for it, saying like, he needs help. School kind of cottoned onto it, and then they pulled me in some room and they were like, "Oh, we want you to do a dyslexia test." And dyslexia is like, I didn't know till now that it's classed as like a learning disability. So the school were like, "Oh, we think you've got some mild learning disability of dyslexia." And I was like, "Absolutely not. See you later." I literally got up and walked straight out. And then my mum was like, "No, you need help. Like they're offering you help. Take it." And I was like, "No, I'm not having that kind of help." So, I mean, I remember one time we sat in me and Will Patrick were talking about this recently, actually. My GCSEs, they were like, that was a bundle of laughs. I was late for some reason. I walked in and like everyone, I mean, probably the same in your school, everyone sits in the sports hall, don't they, on a single desk, like facing the front. And I walked in and then I saw everyone with their heads down, like knuckling down. And I was like, shit, this is like scary stuff. I don't even know what I'm going to be doing. So I just took my blazer off, because we had to wear like a suit and tie. Took my blazer off, put it on the table and just fell asleep. So like, so many of my GCSEs are like, I don't know, unmarkable. I remember there was a time that when GCSEs came out, the results, you had to go to the school and collect them. But I went on holiday with my mum and dad. So my mum's friend went to the school to collect them. And she rang up my mum when we were in Spain, and her mate Ali put me on the phone, and I had all my subjects written down that I had taken and like participated in. And I remember my teacher said to me, I had an A star in practical PE, I had an A star in something else, like an A in the coursework and like all the stuff leading up to it. All I needed to do was get 9% in an exam to get a C, and I got an F.
It's so weird you said that. I was telling someone the other day, one of my clients was like panicking, and I was like, listen, I got 1 GCSE at school, but I've done so well in the coursework that when it come to the actual exam, I done that bad. So I got an A in the coursework, I done that bad in the exam, and I ended up getting a D.
Mate, it's a joke. Honestly, you couldn't even write it.
Mate,
I thought it was a joke.
I didn't even know that could happen.
I thought it was a joke. And then I remember there was one like history. I was quite like interested in history, so I think I did quite well in the lessons and all the stuff leading up to my GCSEs, and I think I needed like, I don't know, 30% or whatever. But what I did, where I struggled to read and write, they sent back and they were like, "Oh, he's got an F." And my mum was like, "Impossible. There's no way you can get an F. So send it away to be I think they send it away to be remarked, can't they, by like a private firm."
Yeah.
So they remarked it, and they basically said, like, the F is right, but basically what I've done is I've answered the question in the wrong box. So like, I've read the question and I've answered it in the wrong box, and they either it's either in the wrong box or they can't even read my writing. And that was so many things. Like in the feedback when they sent all my GCSEs away to be redone, they just came back like, we can't read his writing.
Fucking hell.
And sometimes I can't even read my writing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I write something down. Like I say to my missus all the time, what the hell does that say? I don't know. I'll write it down, I'll go downstairs, come back up and say, what does that say? She'll be like, I have no idea. Or I can write down a word 4 times and it will be spelt completely different.
What, each time?
Each time.
Fucking hell.
Yeah. And sometimes if it's a long word, what I'll do, and I learnt this in school, but it doesn't help me now that I work for myself, but when I learnt in school, I learnt this mechanism, like this technique, right? You write the first 5 letters, or what you think it's going to be, and then you finish off with a squiggle. So it looks like it's really weird. It looks like you've written a really long word, but you can't.
That's like when you're tired and you can't be bothered to finish it.
Oh, mate, honestly.
So when did you ever get help from school? Because you obviously must have, because obviously I was going to the same college together, you must have had to have bucked your ideas up a little bit to be able to get in there.
With the school, I kind of refused help. They offered me one of the people that sit next to you in the exam and write for you and like all that stuff. And I was so strong-headed, and I was like, nah, don't need it. So they were like, I'll tell you what we'll do. You'll get an extra 20% of time on the exam. And all I could think to myself is, I want 20% less time because I just want to get out. Like I don't even want to be in it. So you can give someone who struggles with reading and writing as much time. You can give them 3 days extra time, but that doesn't matter because maybe that was my own fault, or maybe that was the school. So I'm not really too sure. I'll blame the school, to be honest with you. Do you think having maybe a different group of mates at school that you would have been able to be a little bit more open and honest about it? Because a lot of it would have been fear that you would have just maybe been bullied, or people would have taken the piss, or having a big persona can often, a lot of people would say that they are the weakest. Yeah, no, I wouldn't say it's down to like friends and peers. I got a really good group of mates, and we're still mates now. And some of them like have got incredible jobs. I wish back then I had I don't know, reflecting on it, I didn't really know what was going on.
Yeah.
You kind of just think like, I don't know, that's a long word, but I can't tell everyone that's a long word and I can't read it. I don't know, pretend I read it.
Did you feel embarrassed? Would you feel embarrassed?
Massively, yeah. Yeah, massively. That's why I did all the things when like teachers make you to stand up in class and read out loud.
You just act like a clown and just get out.
Yeah, just have a laugh and then you get thrown out and happy days.
Would that cause a lot of anxiety? That, my name's going to be next, I'm going to have to stand up?
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, if you knew your name was coming, you could prep yourself to do something like, you could have a laugh and then they'd say, get out. But it's when they got, like, spare of the moment. Like, I don't know, you stand up and you have a read and you're like, whoa, what's going on?
Yeah. So did you ever have any idea of sort of where you wanted to go? Did you want to go to college, university, or was you sort of just like, if I keep getting kicked out, I'm just going to have to wing it?
I just kind of... I was easy breezy. I mean, I still am now. I'm quite relaxed. I just kind of... In school, they rammed down your throat that university was the thing. And I'm sure they did for you because I think that was the era that we were in. So I just kind of got to the end of school, and then I was like, oh, college is here. What do I do? I don't really know what I want to do, so I just pick sport. Went to some open day, and then I just wanted to pick the easiest subject. Like, I love my mates, and I love being in that, like, I'm a very social person, so I wanted to go for the social aspect, but not for the academic side. So yeah, I obviously went to Worthing College because of football and stuff. And then I wanted to be there to play football. I didn't want to be there for the lessons, but sadly they don't come. They both come hand in hand,
And they are brutal in it. If you don't get your work done, you can't play sport.
Oh yeah.
So with that, you how was your college experience?
College was great. I love college. I love the football aspect of it. Wasn't too keen on the lessons. I wasn't really interested in what I was doing. For me, it was just the easiest thing, or the closest thing that I was interested in to participate in, and kind of, I don't know, wing it.
So the attention span would have been not even existent when it comes to...
my attention span's like awful.
How did you get through college then? Because obviously you went on to university. How did you sort of go, I need to knuckle down and actually get this work done?
I don't think I did, to be honest with you. I mean, I used to leave it till last minute until I was literally being screamed at, saying like, I don't know, this needs to be done. And then I would just do the bare minimum to scrape through. We had some good teachers there. We're in mate. Do you know what? I forgot we were in the same class, but I just registered we were in the same class. Like we had some sick teachers like Dave Hall, great guy, really good guy. Vanessa Rhymes, Ben Coulson. Like they were the three core people for me really. Anyone else didn't really matter. I'd listen to the three of them. Anyone else kind of, I don't know, just didn't really pay attention to them.
Did you know that dyslexia was in full swing when you was at college?
Yeah, I did. I mean, I always shied away from it. I always knew I had it, but if someone said to me, "You've got it," I'd be like, "Don't be silly." Like, don't be silly. And then they'd say, I don't know, "We're going to give you extra help doing this." And I'd be like, "You're having a laugh, aren't you?" Like, I had a test at Worthing College. I had another test. And it was some doctor coming to see me. And she made me do this test. And because my dyslexia, I mean, everyone's dyslexia is different, but my dyslexia for me, I don't struggle with like B's and D's the wrong way around. I don't struggle with memory. My memory's impeccable. I just literally struggle with reading and writing. Like I can read one thing and you'll say, "What does it say?" And then it will just go in one ear and out the other. So I did this test and half of it was memory, like sequences and stuff like that. And I passed. And then she was like, "Your dyslexia is quite rare because you've got some skills that are amazing and then you've got other skills." So I had to do like further tests to actually like iron out my weaknesses in dyslexia kind of thing. And I don't think the college were particularly bad. I just think it's just tailored to the person, you know.
So did you not learn from school that, you know, you maybe would have done a lot better if you did reach out for help?
Oh, massively, yeah. And I wish then I had my pride, or you could say like I need help. I don't know. Because I don't know, it's weird, isn't it? When you're in school, you have like people sitting there with a teaching assistant and you're like, "Oh, like that kid's silly or that kid's stupid."
Yeah.
But I don't want to be that kid. But maybe I was as bad as him or even needing more help than them.
Yeah. Because in hindsight, that kid's a lot stronger because he's actually reached out and probably have to put up with the stick, but that's only because he wants to better his life.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I mean, I've got a friend who I'm still friends with now. I don't see him as much as I'd like to now because everyone kind of, you all drift apart when you're older, but he had a teaching assistant help him and his dyslexia was really bad, like reading, writing, memory, everything. But his GCSEs, he got like an A in everything. Do you know what I mean? The kid's a genius.
Fucking hell.
But yeah, maybe, I don't know, that wasn't the cards that were dealt for me at the time.
So, university, you went off from college to uni. Talk to me about the process. You must have been happy getting the grades to be able to go to uni? Or did you scrape that?
I think I scraped bare minimum, yeah.
It's still a success to be able to do it. I mean, a kid with dyslexia that played up at school.
Do you know what I hated? I went to university because I didn't know what I wanted to do. Like everyone, like, I don't know, it felt at the time everyone knew what they wanted to do. Like they were going to college to get their maths to be an accountant, or they were going to college to get a law degree to be a lawyer and stuff like that. And I was just kind of filling my time.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't really know what else I wanted to do.
Playing sport, just doing BTEC.
Yeah, and that's it. And I loved it at the time.
Yeah, I was in this exact same boat. Yeah, I literally went to Worthing College for the rugby. BTEC sport was good because if you got your GCSEs with that shit, you'd have to do 3 years. I was more than happy to do 3 years
same
because
as me.
that gave me another year of structure, another year of not having to go into a real job. And then you do just sort of build up this, I guess it's like a lifestyle of like you wake up, you go play sport, you go to college, you go and play sport outside of school, you meet new friends, and it is sort of like, it is like an American movie, isn't it? Like you have your sport, you do your college work, you go out, and then it is addictive.
Yeah, it is, and I enjoyed. I love college. I met my missus there. Well, just before we went there, or just before she went there, and it was great. I had my friends, I had my missus, I had like football. I mean, sadly, I broke my knee when I was at college, so the football bit kind of tailed off. But I had everything that I loved, all in one place, you know, and it was great.
So, getting the news that you're getting into uni, parents proud?
I wasn't even proud. Do you know what I mean? Like, I did it because I didn't know what else I wanted to do, and I think it was a scare factor of, if you don't go to uni, you've got to do something, and I didn't know what I wanted to do, so it was a kind of a way of me escaping, like, the reality of you've got to do something. Do you know what I mean? So I applied there. Julia Flynn, Pete Flynn's mum, helped me. She was at the college at the time. I think she wrote my application or helped me. She was really good. And I scraped a place in this thing, turned up, and we were older because we did the extra year at college, and I turned up And I remember I walked into this place and there was all these kids, like, I don't know, I felt like they were about 10 years younger than me. You know, even though they were like 2 years younger than me, I felt they were so much younger than me. And they were like, lads, booze, booze, booze. And I walked in there and I was like, fuck this. Like, get me out of it.
Yeah.
And then I rang my mum and I rang my missus and I was like, look, I'm not enjoying it. It's not for me. And they were like, my mum was like, just give it a try. Just give it a try. Stick it out for a bit, see what you think. And I was like, no, I hate this. I went to one lecture and I literally walked in there and it was like a big theatre thing and I sat at the top and I kind of waited 10 minutes, stood up, started walking out and the geezer like stopped his like talk and was like, is everything all right? And I was like, no, I've got to go. And he was like, why? And I was like, wow, it's not for me kind of thing. And he was like, well, yeah, get out. So I was like, sweet, I will. Get out. Literally went to the front desk of Southampton University and was like, this woman, like, get me out of here. I mean, in the meantime, my missus was at home and I missed her a lot. So I'd take my car. I mean, Southampton was only down the road and like, I was staying more at her house in Worthing than I was in my halls in Southampton.
Yeah. So was it that just, it's overwhelming feeling. Education was never for me. I fucking hated it.
Oh, mate, I hated every minute of it. I love the aspect of it, the social aspect, but I hated as soon as anything was expected of you, then that's when I kind of...
Is that because you always knew you maybe would have let yourself down or you didn't have the capabilities?
Oh, yeah, I think I was more scared of letting myself down and more scared of being a disappointment, you know, for everyone else. That I just, you kind of, I don't know, you teach yourself and you get these coping mechanisms. Like, I don't know, if someone asks me this, if I do this, I don't have to do it.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of way that
I used to copy everyone's work. Everyone.
Yeah, mate, me too.
In primary school.
My A-level, my BTEC is pretty much invalid.
Yeah, I used to literally wait there as if I'd done it and then wait for people to do it and then do it because I couldn't learn. I don't know why. And then I was the same. I would just play up. I don't know why I couldn't ever just find a way of just like things sinking in. Like people, they could teach me something for 3 hours and then do it. I wouldn't have a fucking clue.
No, mate, same as me. And then I got to the thing of it, like, so I didn't have to do the exams, so I was like decent. I haven't got to do any exams, so I've kicked that one out the door. So I'm semi-winning. Yeah. And then they don't expect anything from you until the last minute. So I'm kind of like waking up every day like, oh, I'm winging it. And then all of a sudden, bosh, you've got to give in like 4 assignments. And I'm like, shit. Like, I haven't even done one, you know. And then Dave Hall was great. Vanessa, they helped me massively and kind of pushed me through.
Unbelievable teachers. Shout out Dave, V and Ben.
Yeah, big Dave. We love you loads.
Yeah, they helped me massively. I mean, if he was a little bit late, they were understanding with it. It was overwhelming to students like us, but I think just being at secondary school and being at junior school, like if you don't have them understanding teachers, then it is fucking hard because you just feel stupid. And then once you feel stupid, you're putting that energy out there, and there'll be other students, there'll be other people that are like, oh, he needs help. Like he's stupid. Like people used to call me stupid and thick all the time because I just couldn't do the work.
Yeah,
couldn't do the work.
See, I don't think people called me stupid or not that I knew of, because I never tried.
Yeah.
So and that was kind of semi what I was trying to achieve. Like they didn't know I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Because I didn't do it. So I was kind of just going under the radar, just
getting distracted and causing mayhem whenever you could.
Yeah, I never saw it as that. I just saw it as having a bit of a laugh.
But that is a coping mechanism.
Yeah.
Without you even knowing it, subconsciously, that's your coping mechanism. I used to get like that, just, you can be as loud as you can because then it avoids what you actually do have to deal with.
Yeah.
So, left university.
I left university, I think I did a month. And I mean, when I say a month, I think it was a month from date to date when I went there, when I left. But, mate, even if you added up all the hours I was in Southampton, was probably not even a day. Do you know what I mean? I couldn't wait for anything to get out. Like, I remember there was me, you, Nick Alden, great guy, Freddie VJ, great guy, and I used to hang around with my pals that I knew. I wasn't interested in meeting anyone new, like, and then...
It was a horrible experience from start to finish.
When did you leave?
I think I'd done 6 weeks.
Oh, you done more than me?
Yeah, so I think I'd done 6 weeks, but I'd come back from my summer away, I was like, fuck, what am I going to... No, I finished college, I was like, right, what am I going to do? Summer away. And then I think I went, was at uni for a bit. Cause I come back from a holiday and I went to uni because I was like, right, I don't want to get a job. I don't want to work. So fuck it, I'll go to uni. It must be like college because the news for the lads playing rugby down there. 6 weeks. Found out that you could literally give your pass to someone to go into the room to sign it for you. And I'd start, most of my days I'd sleep in. I'd go out, I'd go and play rugby. The lectures, soon as I open up that laptop, overwhelming feelings like fuck this.
Yeah. See, I didn't even open it up.
Nah.
Like, I remember when I went to Southampton, you register your dyslexia and they give you all this free equipment. And I was like, buzzing, I got a Mac. And then my mum was like to me, yeah, but you got to use it. Like, they're not just giving you like free stuff.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, it's fucking weird. The main thing I felt was weird as well is I don't know, it's strange. They gave me this bit of paper. It wasn't a paper, it was like a transparent bit of plastic. And I think there's some science behind it that some dyslexia people, like, it helps you read better or see the page through the paper. And mine was like green. And this woman was like to me, you've got to carry this bit around, and when you want to read something, you've got to hold this transparent bit of plastic up to it, and it will show you like the words clearer. And I was like, fuck that. Do you know what I mean? I'm embarrassed about it. I'm not going to be carrying around this bit of plastic and holding it up to shit like, oh, let me try and read
Might
this.
as just wear a fucking t-shirt.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So yeah, I left Southampton. Do you know what? I'm glad I went to uni because it showed me that I didn't like it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I never regret it because it showed me what I didn't want.
That's such a good way of looking at it, because I can look back now, because you would be in a position now and it don't matter, oh, what if I went to uni? Because you will meet that person that's gone to uni, they've got a massive degree, they've gone on to achieve anything, and you always think, what if? But at least we went and was like, do you know what, it's not for us. And I've still got one of my closest mates that I'm in touch with now because of uni, so there are positives.
I mean, it's hard, not hard sometimes, but sometimes you speak to people, like, I've got good mates, and university was their best time of their life.
And they smashed it, and they ticked every box.
Yeah, but it just wasn't for me. For me.
Yeah, I probably found university exactly the same as how I found primary school. Fucking horrible.
Yeah, it was hard for me as well because I was working in between. Like, I always had a job, always been a grafter, and I was working at college. So I had a not like loads of money, but I had a bit of an income from. I worked at M&S, mate. I loved it, and I had a bit of money from that, and then kind of going to there, and then people are going, oh, you've got to buy like value ketchup because of this, and I'm like, fuck that. I like nice things, you know. Like, I like Heinz ketchup, and I'm just using that as an example.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I don't want to be scrimping on like what I'm buying or doing this, and I was like, this is fucking weird. Like, I don't want to be doing this stuff. But yeah, I'm glad I did it, and I'm glad I left.
Yeah, 100%.
Fucking glad I left.
Yeah, 100%. So there will be people watching this, and I didn't know how powerful this podcast will actually be, but now we've actually got into it and we're talking about it. It's just, there will be people watching this that are struggling, that don't feel academic, that do feel a bit shy. But talk to us now about the business that you've got and how you got into that, because it is a success story. You know, it's two lads that fucking hated school, didn't learn, and got one GCSE or two GCSEs between us. However, you're sitting proof that you can get to a stage that you've always dreamed of getting to without going down the typical school, college uni route, like everyone's programmed to. So how did you get into what you're doing now and the success of it? Because it has blown up quickly.
It has, yeah. I mean, it's Ashley James started in August 2017. So what's that? 5 years ago?
Yeah.
So basically I left university and I was like, look, I've got to get a job. And I loved working. I love filling my time. I love being busy. And I didn't really know what I wanted to do. Like, I did the typical thing that everyone does. Google, I don't know, jobs to apply for, and you scroll down Indeed or whatever it is, and you're like, oh, that sounds like
jobs
me.
in Worthing.
Yeah, and then it's like, oh, you need 7 GCSEs to apply this A-level, and I'm like, that's me out the door. Like, and I literally did that for every single job. So I rang one of my pal got me a job working in a care home, like as a support worker, and I loved it. Like, it was great. Showed me an insight to people's lives that I never even knew existed, kind of thing. And I loved that for a bit, but it was never for me. It was never for the long haul. It was just kind of just all my jobs that I did were just kind of just ticking, like
stepping stones.
Yeah, just ticking over just to live month to month. And then I used to go to my missus and my mum like, oh, I don't want to be doing this forever. But then, I don't know, 6 months would go by and, we don't want to be doing this forever.
Yeah. And
eventually I went to my mum and I was like, look, I don't want to be doing this forever. I don't even want to be there now, kind of thing. So she had a mate who, she had a family friend who owned a big meat wholesaler, Smithfield Meat Market. Smithfield Meat Market is basically the hub of meat in the UK, I would say. So it's the biggest wholesale meat market in Europe, I think. Probably someone's going to correct me on that, but I think it is. It supplies all butchers shops around the country, wholesalers around the country, schools, hospitals, like every every bit of meat, I'd say, well, pretty much bit of meat in the UK has somehow come through that market. Like, it's pretty big. So he offered me a job. Well, he said to me, take a week off work, come work with me nights, because it was night work. Come work with me nights, take a week off, see what you think of me, I'll see what I think of you, and then we'll go from there. So I was like, all right. So I took a week off work, geezer picked me up, and I loved it. He had a Range Rover SVR, right, and he picked me up in it, and I was like, fucking hell. Like, the geezer, it was like brand new. I think he paid like 150 grand for this car. And he was the big boss, and he picked me up in it, and I was like, fucking hell, is this what it's like? So we drove up to London in this motor, and I was like sitting in the back, like getting a massage off the massage seat, and I was like, fucking hell, I could get used to this. So I went there, and then I think I started as like it was like a work in the warehouse. I used to stack boxes of meat, like checking, meat would come off the lorry, I'd check it in, check all the use by dates, the traceability codes, book it in, start as that. And then, because I've always had a bit of gift of the gab, he was like, I want you to start selling stuff, like selling meat. So I started as that. We had a good team. I can't remember how many people worked there at the time. I think there was about 20. So I worked with a good team, masters of their craft. I mean, to learn this industry, there's no better place than Smithfield Market, because it's like the peak kind of thing. So I was learning off good people. So I started selling meat, working with a guy called Simon. I still work with him now. He's fantastic. I could list people's names for ages. Like, I learned so much from so many different people. And then he got sacked for fighting. I was working with him in the sales team, and he got sacked for fighting, and then lost his job. So I kind of just carried on just doing my thing, selling stuff, and they were trying to recruit like mad to get a sales manager that he was back in. And then I can't remember what happened. I just kept on just doing my thing, just kept on selling stuff. And it's a very niche place up there. A lot of people that work there have had their dads work there, or their brothers have worked there, so they kind of get in. I was just kind of like a bit of an outcast. And then all of a sudden you kind of semi-feel like accepted. You know, you're in their little clique, because it's quite cliquey up there. You're in their little clique. And then, I can't remember where I was fucking going with this.
Right, just it will come to you. So you was up there, you got into the clique.
Oh yeah, so I was up there, and then they were trying to recruit like mad for a sales manager, and then all of a sudden they pulled me to one side, and they were like, look, what you're doing is great. Like, we don't even need a sales manager. We don't even want a sales manager. Like, do you want to kind of step into this role? And I was like, look, not that I don't want responsibility. I always felt like as soon as I was given, if I was doing the job and I was doing it well, just leave me to it. Because I'm doing it well. Don't then say to me, great, you're a sales manager.
And then there's loads of pressure.
There's loads of pressure, and it just fucking goes. Well, I always feel like I go downhill from there.
Yeah. And where did that thought process come from?
I don't know.
Seed you've just planted.
Yeah, but then I think so. But then I was always chasing this dream of. I was always chasing, like, I always wanted to have something to be proud of. Like, I always wanted a profession or a title and all this stuff. And I think people out there still do want that now. And I remember he said to me this thing, and I used to say, like, what's my job role? And the governor at the time said to me, like, me and him got on like a house on fire. He said to me at the time, don't worry about your job role. Like, don't worry about your title. What you take home in the bank is what you should be worried about.
Yeah.
Like, everything is, like, you could be a managing director of this, but if you've got a salesman who's absolutely electric, they can earn more than a director, you know? So that's the kind of mindset he installed into me. And as soon as I kind of learnt that you don't have to have a big title to succeed, I'm like, fucking sweet, happy days. And I just carried on doing that for ages. I mean, getting big clients, getting big customers. I remember once this woman come up to the market, and there was about 4 of them, and she just started speaking to me, and she was like, oh, are you Ashley? And I was like, yeah. And then she was like, oh, I've come to talk to you about Wagyu, and if we can stock your Wagyu, and like, well, not mine, but the company's Wagyu, and like USDA beef, American beef, fantastic beef. She used to say, oh, can we stock it and stuff like that, and started quizzing me about it. And then at the end of it, she gave me a business card, and she was like, look, I'm going to be in touch, please give me a ring. And I read it, and it was like, head produce buyer at Harrods. And I was like, wow.
Fuck.
Do you know what I mean?
Big.
And I'm like, bosh. And then as soon as that happened, I'm like, fucking hell, the woman's giving me the time of day. Do you know what I mean? And she's from Harrods. So it just kind of escalated from there.
That must have built your confidence up massively.
Oh, massively, yeah. It is massive. And also, when people are ringing you for stuff, not that you feel needed, but if they're ringing you, you've got something to offer.
And to solve their problem for them.
Yeah. So if they're ringing you and they're saying, "Oh, Ash, like, I don't know, I need 25 cases of ribeyes. Like, what have you got for me?" Blah, blah. When I come away from it, I'm thinking, fucking, I must be doing something right, because they're asking me for...
Out of everyone, they're coming to you for it.
Exactly. So, you're semi-doing something right. And I just try to surround myself with good people, to try and surround myself with the best. There was a guy they brought in who sold his multi-million pound firm, and he came in as a temp to help at Christmas. And Graham ended up staying there, I don't know, for months. And he was fantastic. He was 70 years old. He's done a lot. And he just said to me, like, he always used to say to me, "You lead the way, and then just take bits of me, like information and knowledge if you need them." And no one knows everything, Still now, everyone's learning. And I don't think there is anyone in any industry who knows everything.
No, definitely not.
But yeah, so have people like that around you to call upon, I think it's fucking great.
Did you find that as like a massive impact, as that sort of, because you mentioned you got accepted into like the clique sort of thing. How hard would it have been to go on that journey and not have them people around you?
Oh, massively. I don't think I wouldn't have been able to do it.
Yeah.
Because like the company I work for specialised in like importing like American beef, Wagyu. I think the biggest stocker in the UK of like Kobe beefs, all the fancy stuff. They did all that kind of stuff. So we never really specialised in like game and stuff like that. So then I quickly needed to have a bloke who was my game guy, that if I had any questions or needed any, to call upon him and stuff like that. So that's how it kind of worked. And I built this wealth of contacts when I was there, of like great people and that sell great products, but also like are willing to help you, and you can call upon their knowledge should you need it.
It sounds like the way you're talking about it, there was a lot of passion from the get-off, basically, from when you started. How important is that there? Because obviously you've had to go into an industry. Now, when we was at college and uni, I never in a million years thought that would be the last thing. That wouldn't have even come into my mind.
I didn't even know it existed.
Yeah, so there's passion and there's enjoyment there for it. That just goes to show how important is it for you in a learning perspective? Because you must have had to learn fucking loads there. But if you was at school, you didn't quite grasp the concept or the momentum to be able to learn at school. But you've got into meatpacking, but because you passion and you love it that much, tell me the difference between the two there.
I think I found something I enjoy. And I think that was not half the battle. I never learned anything in the meat industry from someone giving you a bit of paper and saying, like, you need a qualification. I learned by being in that industry, like surrounding yourself in that industry with the best. And then the people that I worked with were great. And because the company I was working for at the time was quite renowned and well known, they had decent people that worked from there, like beef specialists, pork specialists, and stuff like that. So I learned a lot from people that were good, and just being in that environment, listen to the conversations, being involved with them chats, going to see customers with a pork specialist, him literally reading on the Riot Act about pork, and I'm just sitting there like, wow.
Learning.
Like, not like he's being arrogant, but he's just hitting him with some knowledge, and I'm like, wow, that geezer's good. And if I can be an ounce of what he knows, fantastic.
So from day dot, when you sort of found the enjoyment, you found the passion, you found the fulfillment, did you see yourself in there long term? Because that must have been the only time that you haven't turned around in 6 months and gone to your mum and dad, don't want to be doing this.
Don't want to do this anymore. No, I loved it. I instantly loved it. It was weird. So we used to leave, I used to get picked up, I think, at 11 o'clock at night or midnight. And then we'd get there for like 1. It's like central London by like St Paul's Cathedral. So it's like central London. Get there for like 1. We'd trade all the way through till 8 in the morning, 9 in the morning, and then come home. And then when I'd come home, people are waking up.
Yeah.
So I was like, fuck, this is weird. But no, I used to love it. It was hard. Like, it was really, really hard. Like, I used to come home I used to get home for like 9, 10 in the morning. We'd occasionally stop in the pub on the way home and have a pint. Then I'd go to bed, wake up. I'd go to bed at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I'd wake up, sleep for like 2 hours, wake up, see my missus, have dinner with her, go back to bed for 2 hours, get up and then go back to work again. It'd start all over again 5 days a week.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, it was tough.
That's not a normal pattern. But again, that becomes a normal once you get used to it.
Yeah, but I loved it as well. Like, I've never been one to phone in sick, but if I didn't like something, I'd moan to shit about it.
Yeah.
But I never moaned about it. I loved it.
A lot of people come to me as a life coach and they say that how do you find motivation, or what can I do to get motivated in life? How important is it because there'll be people watching this and they don't quite understand that looking for motivation's bollocks. Like, I don't believe it's actually a thing. You can watch as many videos on Instagram as you want. It's going to be maybe a 20-second thrill and that's it. I'm going to change my life. And then you go on to the next video and just slump there watching dog videos. You have found something you love. You have found something that gets you fulfilled, and getting out of bed, I bet it's an absolute doddle. How important is it to do something that you love and enjoy?
It's not a doddle, because I live on like 2 hours sleep a day. That's not a doddle. But yes, no, mate, I think it's important to enjoy what you do. And I think that's half the battle. If you find something you love, what's that famous quote like? If you find something you love, you never work a day in your life.
You've just said it.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I love it. And when I worked for that firm, my job was literally, so I got pulled into the office one day, and then they had that conversation about like me progressing and all that stuff. And there was 2 directors at the time. The director, me and him got on. One of them got on like a house on fire. We were really good like pals. And then the other one literally looked at me and was like, "Your job is to turn meat into money. That's it. That's all I want you to do, is turn meat into money." And he said to me, "The richer that I get, the richer that you get." Right. And I was like, "Fair dues." So I'd get an email saying like, I don't know, they've got like 6 pallets of this coming in of like, I don't know, whatever beef it was. And then he'd ring me up and say, "Have you seen the email? But get rid of it. Like, just sell it." So I was selling stuff that was in the fridge, and then I said to myself, I was like, "Look, I want to sell stuff before it even comes in the fridge." So things was coming off the lorry and it was already sold, because we were selling it. We knew what was coming in and we were flogging it before it even hit the market. And yeah, I just got a bit of buzz out of it. And then like, I worked there for a couple of years, and they did this bonus thing, like bonuses. And I remember one year, like, I don't think I got one, or I did get one. It was a little one, and I was like, sweet, buzzing. And then the geezer, like one of the owners said to me, was like, "Look, you keep doing what you're doing. Next year will be more." And then I got my pay, and then the year later I got a pay slip. I looked at it and I was like, "You're joking?" Like, buzzing. And I walked out of this office, and I went up to one of the directors and I said to him, "Look," and I held my pay slip in my hand, and he said, "Say nothing." And I just said to him, "Thank you very much." And he was like, "You're welcome." And that was it. And then. But yeah, mate, the harder you worked. Was that an extra drink, or you wasn't expecting it? I wasn't expecting it. They never tell you. You weren't entitled to it. I never expected it. Yeah. Was you on commission, or was it a basic salary? No, it was a salary. And then you just, I got well looked after. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, I had a pickup truck, custom built. It was sick, mate. Yeah, I had a mobile phone, like little things that people have now, and they're like, "I'm entitled to a mobile phone." I paid my contract for years, and then when someone's like, "I'll pay for that for you," I'm like, "Sweet, unreal." Yeah, I'll pay for your fuel. No worries, thank you very much. I'll have that. So you're now driving around with your name on big fuck off vans. Talk to me about that. How was the process of coming up with the idea that you're gonna leave? Because it must be quite hard to. When it comes down to loyalty and jobs, a lot of people like feel funny telling the business that they're going to leave to go and do their own thing. No, how was that? Considering now you've been so well looked after. So the guy who looked after me really well, he sold his shares and he sold out, so he left. And then it was just the director and his son that were remaining. And the director that left, me and him got on like a house on fire. So I was a bit gutted when he left, because I was like, he was my go-to guy if I needed anything or I wanted anything. Yeah. Like. He was really good to me, so it was a struggle then, and then they started to put the pressure on everyone. It was all about the 2 guys that were left. It was all about like margins, figures, chopping stuff. So like the mobile phones were cut, the fuel cards were cut, all the privileges were cut, and it was kind of. I was going to work at like midnight, working through till pretty much midday the next day, including travel. So that's like 12 hours. Plus my phone was ringing all the time. So I was working pretty much all the time anyway. And then I remember one day I went to leave at like 9 a.m, and one of the gaffers was like, "Where are you going?" And I was like, "I'm going home." And he was like, "No, you're not. Like, you need to get up in the office and get on them phones." And I was like, "Mate, I've been here since midnight." And he just said to me, "It's not my fault where you live." And walked off. And I was like, whoa. Fucking hell. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I've grafted my bollocks off you for like 5 years. So that was that. And then, and then me and him had a chat. Then he pulled me in the office a couple of weeks later and was like, "Look, I want you to take on more staff, blah, blah. I'll reward you. Like, the more work you're taking on, the more money you learn." So I was like, "Sweet." And then he said to me, "If you want to be successful, you've got to live and breathe this. And I was like, look, I don't mind living and breathing it, but I'm not working 24 hours a day. I've got a missus at home. I also want to have a life and stuff like that. And then he was like, if you want it, it's there. If you don't want it, there's the door. So I was like, there's the door.
Fucking hell,
See you
really?
later. Yeah, so I literally, I got my, I don't know, what did I do? Oh no, I literally got up, just walked out. And then I said to him, like, thanks a lot, don't worry about it. And then me and him had a bit of a row. And then I got in my car and drove home. And then that was on the Thursday. I got home and I said to my missus, like, oh, fucking hell, I've had a bit of a shit day. And she was like, why? I was like, well, because I kind of left. So I kind of left, didn't have a job.
5 years?
Yeah, I think it was 5 years.
The only job that you've held down for longer than 6 months?
Yeah. So that was that. And that was a bit weird. That was on the Thursday. And then I was like, shit, I ain't got a job. And then the Friday I woke up and I was like, shall I go in? Shall I ring him? I was like, no, I won't ring him. The keys and the knob. So then the weekend came, got to a Saturday morning, I got a letter from the firm I was working from saying, if you don't return your keys, the company car, your phone, anything owned by the company before Monday, we'll ring the police and say you stole it because you stole it. I was thinking, mate, how have I stole it? So anyway, so I gave my car back, gave my phone back, everything like that. And then my phone started to ring. And I, like, not that you feel a bit worthless, but you're like, I don't know, you ain't got nothing to do, you ain't got a job. I mean, it was only a day, but it still takes a bit of a toll on you. And my phone started to ring. I think in a day I had 10 phone calls from other firms up there saying, like, I heard you left, you want a job?
Really?
Yeah. And then I was like, wow, like, I must have been doing... I knew I was always good and capable at my job, but when other people are ringing you to see if you want to work for them...
That's when it sinks in.
Yeah, then you know that you're doing something right. So I always had this idea that I wanted to go out on my own and do my own thing. And when they rang and they were like, do you want to come and work for us? We'll give you a job. I'm not even joking, probably, like 10, 12 firms rang me and were like, do you want a job?
Really?
And I was like, look, I never want to waste anyone's time. So I always say, look, it's a no for now, but it's not a no forever. Because I always knew I wanted to do my own thing. So then, funnily enough, the geezer that I got on with, the director of the company, who left and sold his shares out, he then rang me and was like, I've heard you've left. Like, do you want to do your own thing? I'll back you. I'll support you. So I was like, sweet as, like, happy days. So started touting around for customers and stuff like that. Very, very quickly. I mean, I've got a lot of time for the guy. He was very good to me at the time. Very quickly, I realised it's not something that I wanted to do. Like, I didn't want to be... Something in me just thought, that's not right. Like, I don't want to be in a kind of partnership like that. So I said to him, look, it's not for me. Then we kind of went our separate ways very early on.
Amicably?
Yeah, I mean, my story would be different to his story would be different to mine. But I never badmouth anyone. It is what it is, you know. I've got big shoulders and I just suck it up.
Was that your gut that was telling you need to just go, it's your time now to do your own thing?
Yeah, I mean, I started doing my own thing. Obviously, when I started Ashley James, he was involved in the background. Very quickly I learned, I was like, I don't want that.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted to do it for myself. I've got the ability to do it for myself. I knew I was capable of it. So I just crack on my own. Whether it was amicably or I don't know. But I always try and do the right by people. We get on now. We speak all the time. I'd still ring him for advice. He still rings me.
Nice, good.
So, yeah.
I'm glad to hear that. So, yeah, you went out on your own. How daunting was that? Because obviously with that comes a lot of paperwork.
It is daunting, yeah. So I went out on my own. It is daunting. It's really
and
daunting.
Obviously with the dyslexia, it's paper. I mean,
mate, don't. It is a joke. So I went out on my own. Like knocking on doors, and it's hard work, like, because you're basically going into a restaurant, a hotel or somewhere and say, look, I'm Ashley, this is what I'm doing, let me show you what I can do. And some people that are my customers now, they give you the benefit of the doubt and they're like, look, do you know what, drop us in a sample, show me what you can do. Some people laugh you out the door, but you get a mixed thing of reactions. You should stay on top of that, because sometimes it can be disheartening. Like, in a day you can go into a few places and all of them can give you, like, not positive feedback, but all of them can say, look, drop us in some samples and we'll have a look. And you're like, sweet, they're giving me the time of day.
Yeah.
But then you can have other days when you can go into like 5 different places and all 5 of them laugh you out the door.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So you have to stay positive in yourself. But I always believed in myself, and I always knew I was good at what I did. So yeah, it was just kind of doing that. The dyslexia didn't help. My mum put me in touch with an absolute legend of an accountant who I'm still with now. He's fantastic. Big up Paul Thatcher, great guy. He put me onto different softwares and stuff like that because I basically said to him, like, this is what I need, this is what I want you to do. And he was like, no problem, like, if I can be any help. So he put me on some decent softwares that helped me. Anything I can do just to make my life easier for myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me about the first time a restaurant took you on or a place took you on. Because that must have been a fucking great feeling.
Yeah, it's a great feeling. But then you're such a small fish in a big pond.
Yeah,
you know, you're such a small fish in a big pond. And I was doing I was grafting so hard, and I'd go home, and my missus, bless her, she put up with a lot because I was going out on my own at night. Like, I remember once I was driving all the way to London. Like, I can't remember how many customers I had at the time, but I was driving all the way to London for like one bit of beef.
Yeah.
Like, because I couldn't let them down.
Yeah.
And I'd never be that person to let them down, but I had to go there. So I was driving up in a van that was costing me a fortune because they're all like kitted out with fridges in the back and whatever else to pick up like a couple of bits of beef to give to them. And it is disheartening because you're like, fucking hell, is this all I'm capable of? But you just gotta, what's the word? Like, is it prevail?
Yeah, just keep going.
Just keep going. Yeah, and just keep going. But when someone says to you like, yeah, sweet, like, we'll use you, you're good. It does give you a bit of a buzz inside.
And then did it just start to pick up the momentum then?
Yeah, and the momentum did pick up. But the thing, do you know what I think I love the most is when you go into someone, you're like, look, let me show you what I can do. And they laugh you out the door. Then 2 years later, they ring you.
Yeah,
and you're like, there's no better feeling. I mean, I don't blame them, like, for ringing, but there's no better feeling because you're like, 2 years ago, you didn't want to know.
Yeah, now you fucking blowing up the blower.
Maybe cut that bit out.
No, so how did the moment, because you've got a couple of vans now.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the expansion of that because it has happened very quickly.
So I basically just had my own van, used to drive up. All the meat I buy, all I buy or we cut or we pack is to order. So I don't carry any stock, so everything is like maximum shelf life, and that's what I always pride myself on. I never want to give anything that's like the fridge throwaways or whatever that's coming to the end of its life. But I was just packing out I was just filling vans, and I just got to a point I was like, well, I can't even fit the meat in the van that I have.
Yeah.
So I had to go out and get another van, and like a lot bigger one. And yeah, that's it. I think I just pride myself on good quality meat, like with a good service, and as long as you're fair in price and you deliver what you say you're going to do, and you're capable of doing what you say you're going to do, because a lot of people see through waffle very quickly.
Yeah.
You know, so you've got to be able to back it up and say to them like, this is what I'm capable of, and I will deliver, and I will do it. And as long as you do that, it's just.
I was having a chat with a mate the other day about the importance of service.
It's very important.
Literally everything. I always want my brand to be known as, like, you know, when you leave a restaurant and you're glad you paid for that meal.
Yeah, no, 100%.
That is exactly how I want Melio to be known. And you actually give a fuck and you actually do care.
Yeah, and sometimes you don't get things right, you know, and sometimes you don't get things right. But if I don't get things right, the first thing I think is, how can I rectify that?
Yeah.
I apologise, how can I rectify that? And rectify it as quick as I can. And that's the problem with me, I'm very impatient. So I expect people to work how I work, you know, and if there's a problem, I'll fix it within, I don't know, I'll say minutes, but it won't be minutes, but it'll be as quick as I can. But then when I work with other people and they're like, I don't know, dragging their feet and all that, I'm like, come on, like, just get it done and move on to the next thing. And that's the way I've always been.
The excitement of it, do you still get the same buzz?
I buzz for it, mate.
Yeah.
Sounds really weird. Sounds weird.
You tell
so
the passion in your voice, and it's so good to see. From the first minute of this podcast, it was like, oh, I hated school, I was always Jack the Lad. Whereas now to talk about something that you love and you do get fulfilled about is absolutely incredible.
It is, yeah, and it's, I don't know, it's hard. And like, I've got to focus, like, I do owe a lot to my missus. And for putting up with me, because there's not a lot of birds that'll put up with that, that shit. And I'm not talking about the shit, I'm talking about like now, I live on 2 hours sleep a day.
Yeah.
Like 4 if I'm lucky, and in the weekend I literally, like, sometimes on a Friday I can go to bed at 7 at night and I won't wake up until 7 in the morning. Like 12 hours. And some people are like, 12 hours is a lot of sleep, but for me, like, that's like a long time.
Is that just because you're striving for your business to be the best it can be?
Yeah, and also I think that's what's needed. And I never think like I've only had 2 hours sleep. I just literally go to bed, set my alarm, and then bosh, I'm up and I'm going.
Yeah.
And I give 100% every time. And I never let tiredness hinder me. I mean, sometimes I've pulled over on the M25 on the way home, and you pull over for a little kip on the side. But that's only because you don't want to crash and like it gets a bit dangerous. But yeah, it is hard.
So if there's anyone watching this that isn't really sort of fulfilled in life, or they are struggling to do or find what they want to do, and you know they don't really have the belief in them, have you got a message for them to be able to? Because obviously you've gone from one stage to another.
Yeah, things always happen at the weirdest times, you know, and I think there is something out there for everyone. You know, like everyone says, oh, there's somewhere out there for everyone in falling in love, or whether it's like, or a new job. Just keep trying different things, and you'll find something you love. Like, I mean, mate, I never thought that I would run and own this business and it like be successful and as known as it is by starting work stacking boxes in a fridge. You know, like I was just doing that because I was living like month to month and I needed a job, and it was a bit of banter with the lads in the fridge, and like I loved it. But I'd never look back and think like I was capable of doing what I'm doing. So yeah, mate, I'd just say to people, just keep going.
Just keep believing in yourself.
Just keep believing, yeah, and that's it. Because I think if you don't believe in yourself, no one else is going to believe in you.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with a lot of people. There's so many people with self-doubt, but you just got to be, I don't know, I've never had confidence issues, but you just got to believe in yourself.
Massively. No one can ever take that away from you either.
No.
That's one thing. I ask all my guests at the end of every podcast, Melio means for the pursuit of the better in life. How do you plan on pursuing the better in life moving forward?
I plan just to keep doing what I'm doing. Like, I like to, with my business, I like to grow organically. You know, like I've had people come to me and they're like, oh, we'll give you X amount of money, like do this, do that, do this. And I'm like, look, I appreciate it, but I don't want it. You know, I like to just grow organically, and then if I need a new van or I need another driver or I need another this, then I go and find it.
Yeah.
Not like
given just on a plate.
Yeah, and that's all the way I've been. And because like I'm learning every day, my business was never a rule book. It was never given to me. It was never like a family business where my dad could teach me it, or I was joining someone else's firm and they could teach me. I was just kind of fighting day to day, learning it, whether it would be not necessarily the meat industry, just like the paperwork, like the stuff with the council, like the traceability and stuff like that. You have I had no idea about that kind of stuff. But that's all stuff you learn, you take in your stride. And yeah, but then put more time and not time and effort, but a focus on my family. I got a little boy now. He's 2 and a bit. He's he's an absolute legend. Just spend more time with them. The time I don't get a lot of time off, so the time that I do get off, make it productive.
Yeah.
So like me and my missus have said, like every bank holiday that we're next year, we're going to do something. You know, we're going to go away or we're going to do something proactive, and that's why I work as hard as I do, because I want to give him a better. I don't want him. I mean, if he wants to come work with me, happy days. But I don't want him getting up working nights every day. And like going to the pub. Like I love to socialise and go to the pub with my pals, but sometimes you go to you work for 16 hours a day. You go to bed for 2 hours. You get up, have something a week. You go to the pub. Everyone's having a whale of a time. I love being there, but I'm yawning the whole way through. Yeah, you know, and I think,
you're not really present.
No, but I want to be there. That's why I force myself to get. It's easy. I can just stay in bed and go on to the next day. But
nice. So you won an award as well. Actually, I wanted to touch on that quickly. I saw the other day you won an award. Tell us about that.
Yeah, we won. What did we win? Won a customer service award, which was great. We weren't even in that category, so I don't really know how that happened. Just kind of got. I can't remember what happened. I got an email saying people have nominated you for this thing. Fill in what you do and send it back. So we did that, sent it back. And I did it the year before as well. And I think we become a runner-up in the year before for something. And then this year, the year just gone, we won a customer service award. And I was sitting on this table with one of my pals, Will Patrick, and his company. Was sitting with him. And they basically won every award that you could win the year before. And I was sitting there like, wow.
Yeah.
I'm sitting with like the king. I think there's about 7 awards and he won like 5 of them.
Really?
Like him and his firm. I mean, his firm's a big firm.
Yeah.
And they won like 5 of them. So I'm sitting there thinking, bloody hell, like I'm a bit of an underdog here. And And then all of a sudden, they're just like, oh, the customer service award, blah, blah, Ashley James, blah, and all this stuff. And I'm like, whoa,
Fucking hell.
what's going on?
Mental.
Yeah. So I had to go up, make a bit of speech. I did have I had a few pints before, so I wasn't in my prime, so I didn't really know what to say. And it's kind of like you get all these people that are not expecting to win, but they write down what they're going to say on their phone.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't expect to win anything. So I just went up there and, just basically said, thank you very much.
Unreal. Yeah, I wanted to finish on that just because, as I said from the start of the podcast and now, I just want, it's how important it is to just, it's inspiring for me to sit here and watch the journey that you've done and you've uncovered. And I know it will inspire a lot of people that maybe don't have a lot of love for life, or they struggling to find their passion, or they're jumping from sort of job to job because they don't really know what to do. So, mate, it's been a pleasure to hear this journey.
Oh, thanks, mate.
Really appreciate it. And if anyone wants to get in touch with Ash, I'm sure he'll give a little bit of advice if you're sort of struggling what to do.
I'll help as much as I can for what it's worth.
Hopefully he's got a few apprentices that can go on. But as always, thank you for watching. Please always like, share, comment, subscribe, and push this into the path of someone you may feel benefit from it. Big love, Melia fucking movement, baby.